Hello, Capricorn, and welcome to your December monthly forecast. I'm Nicholas Ashbaugh. Apollo's behind me resting, so we'll let him be. We have a lot to talk about anyway, so let's get into it. Before I get into channeled messages, just a quick reminder that this can be used for sun, rising, and moon. Let's transition now and take a look at the channeled messages. In dreams and meditation, the first thing that I picked up on this morning was this feeling of either restlessness or boredom, possibly also fatigue. These do not have to be mutually exclusive. Some of you may actually be experiencing a combination of that. The exact vision was someone at a desk falling asleep. And this could be a wake-up call. In fact, I believe that's what it is from Spirit, to basically say it's okay to change your mind or change your trajectory or focus. So if you're a student, maybe you just aren't feeling a connection to what it is that you're studying because the way that you thought it would be versus what it ended up being when you got to school, it's different, and that's okay. We're allowed to change course. Same thing for those of you that have been working for a while at a job. Maybe you've accomplished all you set out to. There's a lack of growth opportunity, or you're just feeling bored. Some of you may be juggling too many things, too many activities, too many jobs, and I was picking up on actual fatigue. In any of these scenarios, Spirit is inviting you during December to take a step back. First of all, rest a little bit and, take care of your health. But once you've done that, to think, since we're just a month from the new year, what it is that you want to do differently, well in advance of December 31st or January 1st, so that you can start to plant the seeds, you can start to do the research. That way, even if it takes a little bit of time for all of this to come to fruition, you at least have the peace of mind that you are starting to make some progress. And that can actually help tide you over, even when things may not be as interesting as you might hope they were. Moving on to the second message in dreams. I was shown the image of the Rosetta Stone, which was basically this old tablet that has like 3 different languages on it, and it gave people that study languages the key with which they could basically decode old languages and understand more about it. So when I look at this, it's basically a symbol of self-discovery. Some of you may be either exposed to an opportunity, a class, or maybe even you go to a seminar or something and you hear someone speak, and for the first time in a moment, it awakens something, a curiosity to learn, an inspiration to create. Sometimes reading a book or seeing a movie can do that. You're like, if they could do it, I could do it. So I get that sense of self-discovery. You're given something that awakens and enlightens you to a path that you had either forgotten about or not even known was possible. It's also an encouragement because that's basically when I think of the Rosetta Stone, you can use it to learn. So if you were thinking of getting training or education this month, absolutely, this is in alignment with that. Not only that, this is literally something that has multiple languages on it. So maybe some of you are thinking of working, studying, traveling, or even moving to another country, and you're going to do the legwork first by learning the language, which I highly recommend. So no matter how you look at it, there's something cool that's opening up within, creatively, intellectually, or energetically. Pay attention to that. We'll take a look in just a moment and see what it might be in the cards, but there might be something specific to you, so pay attention. All right, and the final thing that I saw was, I think some of you may have a well-meaning relative in spirit that was showing me like, get out and have some fun. Because of that earlier message around fatigue, boredom, or disinterest, it was kind of a reminder that there's more to this life than just work. In fact, it's very important to forge friendships and, of course, experience love. But the way that it was being conveyed in dreams was like, go out to a party, or they showed me like a concert venue, go listen to something that you enjoy. The exact event or location wasn't so much the sort of focus on this. It was more about who you might meet while you're there or who you might be going with, because those relationships and experiences are going to enrich your life, of course, but also potentially introduce you to people that could be there as a new friend or new ally. So basically, there's some matchmaking, and again, it's not just for love, it's for friendship, which as you get older, arguably is even more important because the friends are the ones that are there on the good days and also the bad days. So Spirit wants you to have some fun and to focus on networking. All right, let's give the cards a shuffle now and see what additional messages come through for December. As always, let's set some intentions before we begin here. Take a moment and close your eyes. If there's anything that you were bringing in the form of, preconceived notions, fears, or anxieties, let's leave that at the door. Imagine instead that you're watching the rising sun, feeling its warmth and radiance wrap around you, creating a circle of light and safe space. In this circle of light, let's welcome in angels, spirit guides, and ascended masters and set the intention to receive guidance in the highest form. Okay, let's get started. All right, let's get started with the Catalyst card. Your card reads Innocence this month, and this is connected to the Sun card in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. And if you look at the numbers, they're identical. So we have 19, the Sun, or 19 Innocence in Osho Zen Tarot. The Sun card is probably the best card in the Major Arcana, or one of the best ones, because it represents a favorable outcome. It can be a moment where you really step into your power. And it also, if you are lucky enough to meet someone, can represent a very favorable partnership. And more than one deck, this is the Morgan Greer one, features lovers on this particular card. So suffice it to say, this is going to be good energy that you're engaging with in December. And this particular one is reminding you sometimes we get in our headspace too much and we get jaded by life and jaded by experience. If you can get back to that part of you that is playful, a little bit more trusting or vulnerable, it's going to endear you to others. It's also going to allow you to experience joy and opportunity when it comes knocking, because it does feel like this is your moment, this is your turn. The other thing that I'm paying attention to is the praying mantis here, which of course is very patient. And basically a praying mantis knows exactly when to go for something, just like a spider. Whenever we have a good hunter symbol coming through, it is saying in this moment in time, if something comes through, an opportunity, seize the moment, okay? Beautiful card, beautiful message. Inner child wants to come through and have some fun. This, of course, was nicely connected to the channeled message that we talked about, where a relative or your guide was coming through and saying, don't forget to get out there, to mix and mingle. You might meet somebody. All right, let's just glance at the table and see how everything is coming together. I love that we have opportunity knocking here in Hopes, Fears, and Opportunity. I also love that you're going to be able to juggle or manage whatever comes your way with this really active Three of Wands. You know, I love an active Three of Wands. And there may be something really, really positive that takes you by surprise. It kind of sweeps the rug from underneath your feet. It could be the relationship or love. And how cool is it? I just mentioned that you might be attracting that. We have the lovers here. And then also we have opportunity. This is a card of surprise or revelation when reversed. So something's coming through really quickly, and you have to act quickly on it too. All right, let's just take it one card at a time. The magician is so beautiful here because we see a magician creating their own rhythm, their own sort of magic, if you will. And the only thing that's required here is belief and focus. A reversed magician is often a distracted magician, or they're just not trusting the flow of information and their sort of insights as it's coming through. So don't doubt yourself. That's the first thing. And do less, but do it better. The marching to the beat of your own drum is also a reminder that not everybody is going to understand your calling, your idea, your purpose, but as long as you do, and as long as some people do, it's fine. The audience will show up later. Everybody has to start somewhere. And you see these old videos like on TikTok of like Chapel Rowan or, Taylor Swift early in their career playing for a very small group of people. And then years later, filling a concert venue, right? So everything starts small in the beginning. You have to be true to your craft and to your vision. And that's the main thing here. Focus and believe, and then set it into motion. All right, crossing that card, we have the King of Cups. This is super creative. This is also really, really great for the love energy that's coming through here, or partnership energy that you might also be calling forth. King of Cups is one of the more effective leaders because they are engaging, they are endearing, they are vulnerable, and they're also strong. You can be all of these things. You don't have to hide your sensitivity or empathy just because you're in a position of leadership. In fact, if we had more sensitive leaders out there, we would be in a better place. So use your passion and your compassion in a way that can actually help you build things, inspire people around you, and maybe even call in lover relationships. So you know that I do not generally focus just on love, but we have 3 cards that show that this could be happening. And on some levels, it may be a kind of law of detachment where it surprises you because we have this surprise card here, but this is love, this is potentially love, and this, when we interpret it as like the Morgan Greer version of the sun, can also be love. So I feel like at the very least, people are paying attention to you, but you may also have a new friendship, new alliance, or new love interest that wants to also come forth. And it may be a water sign, particularly since we have a little crab in this particular cup, a Cancer. Usually, most of the cups will show fish, so it's very interesting that we see the Cancer symbol on that one. Okay. Let's take a look at your deep past. This is the karmic lesson that is creating some challenges for you at this moment. It is understanding that you have just seen the tip of the iceberg in this past year. If there were frustrations because you didn't achieve what you thought you should, you haven't been receiving the abundance that you thought you should have, it's basically because this is a foundational year. The 4 corners representing your ability to create something that can be built upon. Now, I'm going to show you the traditional one in just a second, but let's zoom in a little bit and you can see right around his heart chakra, he's starting to create new things. And this is really about tuning into your heart because that's what's going to connect you to your power, and it's also what's going to connect you to new people, places, and opportunities. Here are the 2 different versions of 4 of Pentacles, the one that we pulled today and then the Rider-Waite-Smith one on the other side. What you can see here with this Rider-Waite-Smith equivalent is the person really tightly holding on to something, often because there is this fear that if they were to let it go, there may be nothing that takes its place. And again, what I'm getting with the Sun and Moon deck, which we're using here, is that you've only seen the very beginning, the tip of the iceberg. And if you hold on to just what's here, rather than allowing something more to come through, you'll never know what's possible. So if something isn't enough, if you've been working really hard and you haven't been getting a return on that, it's time to speak up and advocate for more abundance. If someone isn't giving you what you put into the relationship, it's time to have a discussion there. And if you're just used to over-delivering, you need to save a little bit for your own health and well-being, because this card represents, in many cases, not enough. Okay. Thankfully, it looks like you've been doing the work. We have 2 power cards that are touching each other here. So King of Cups, sensitivity, intuition, happiness, love. And now we have King of Wands, which is one of the ultimate boss and business cards. Many of you have been focusing a lot on building that part of your life, deciding to be a little bit more independent, a little bit more outspoken, maybe going to school to get a little bit more training, because I had talked about how that could be very helpful when I saw the image of the Rosetta Stone. So this is a moment where if that's something that you want, go for it. And I love that we have a unicorn on this deck, which is representing singular or magical or unique qualities. So what makes you different makes you successful, makes you interesting, allows people to be drawn to you, because that is what the sun does in our solar system. It pulls everything toward it. So This is your chance to do the same, but particularly taking a more vocal and active role when it comes to business, finances, and personal development. And yeah, there could be a really interesting alliance here between a water sign and a fire sign. You could be calling in both. This can also represent the two of you. I'll go in deeper into all of those potential outcomes when we go into love in the expanded forecast. But we need to talk about what's going on here first. This is representing what's in your mind at the moment. So the Page or Princess of Swords in reverse has a tendency sometimes to be sharply critical about herself. So in your case, this is saying, make sure that you're not holding yourself to a standard that is unrealistic. Be more kind to yourself, be more practical, and allow yourself room to grow and learn from quote unquote mistakes. The other thing here is don't mince words. If there's something that needs to be said or done, now is the time to take action. Do so succinctly, clearly, and without hesitation, because all of this is represented by the Page of Swords reversed. It is revisionary as well. So if you're working on something and, for instance, it's a contract and you're not getting compensated enough, or if you're trying to have more of a voice or more of a vision, you want to make sure that your ability to do so is spelled out in that contract. You have a good chance to get what you want. An opportunity we have, Wheel of Fortune. That absolutely can make up for Four of Pentacles energy. And the glue between these is the Lovers. This is what you're putting out there. The Lovers is reversed, but it's still a powerful card. The Lovers represents not only harmony when it comes to relationships and love, but also the same pull that we saw with the Sun card. Your ability to basically get people interested in what it is you have to say. So what's important here is don't sell yourself short. Believe in your value. And if good news comes, and folks, it looks like there could be some good news coming to you, especially as we see here with opportunities in money or personal development, then rather than push it away and think this can't be me, think instead, finally this is happening. This reminds me of a song from the 80s. But yeah, finally it's your moment to embrace this and have some fun with it. And there could be unexpected love, unexpected opportunity, or additional attention, more so than you might be used to. And for those of you that are just a little bit, shy or unsure, it's okay. But it looks like this is a time for the tide to shift and things to go in a better direction. One of the areas in particular that seems to be improving is opportunity. And again, we see the Wheel of Fortune here in Hope Sphere as an opportunity, but you're being represented beautifully here by a juggling Three of Wands. And it actually gives you the key to being successful this month. This juggler, she's actually only holding one of those three wands, and the other two are somewhere in motion. That means, for instance, you could delegate, especially since we had the Lovers card, there could be someone that you trust enough to take care of whatever it is you care a lot about while you focus on something else. So you delegate, that's one of the wands in the air. There may also be things where you're waiting to hear back for an approval or feedback. So you email that or send it on its way. And then like today, you focus on one. So even though there's a lot of things in motion, in any given point, there's only one or two things that you have to focus on. So that's one of the beautiful sort of messages that's coming through here. You can juggle, maybe more than you're used to. I like this versus the traditional one where the person's waiting for things to come to them. Basically, this month in December, Spirit's saying you're going to be asked to roll up your sleeves and be a little bit more active and proactive. And there may be days where there's a lot or a little, and you're going to try to figure out how to make it work on those extremes and then in between. You can do this, though. That's one of the signs of a good leader. And what I like here is that you already showed up with that leadership potential in the form of the King of Wands. So as often as possible, try to keep a bird's eye perspective, to use your management abilities to kind of delegate and focus on what matters most. That's the summary on this one. Also, this represents a timeline. So normally if I was just looking at the Rider-Waite-Smith card, I would say it's happening. It's just a matter of recognizing that it's happening. Now, with this card from the Sun and Moon deck, not only is it happening, but it's around you. And there's no time to waste. So it's really important to embrace the synchronicity in this moment in time. okay? And this could also be, I mentioned earlier that sort of Rosetta Stone. You're starting to realize that you can do more in certain areas when you feel inspired, because this is basically the juggler is juggling like fiery batons. Passion gives you more energy and it allows you to be more productive. So find where that passion is, and then you'll be able to juggle a little bit more. Good news is en route. You are set up for recognition and success and a more popular streak than I've seen before for you. So that's good. Try to have fun with this. That's what that sun card is reminding you. Okay, in the environment, we have basically the divine partner to the King of Cups. So for many of you, there could be a wonderful water sign energy coming forth. Look at the reflection on this card. This is someone who is matching your energy, and so far your energy is pretty good. The only thing that, again, I saw when I was looking at all of this is there could be so much going on here that you've lost your focus. There could be a little bit of shy energy coming forth where you're not used to attention, but the universe only gives you what you're ready for, and I really do feel like you're ready for something wonderful. Now, the Queen of Cups in reverse in the environment can also represent a person that needs a lot. This can be someone already present. So let's assume we're not looking at incoming love, but we're looking at friendships, coworkers, family. This is someone with whom you will need to have better boundaries because they could be dealing with significant, the word trauma kind of keeps echoing in my head. So there might be someone in your life that's going through a significant shift, and I'm feeling it. I'm feeling an activation in my crown, and it's almost as if they just need to kind of push that on someone else, but then it sticks with you for a while. You can hear and think about that after the conversation, long after that. So make sure that you have good boundaries this month, and you can help a person to a certain extent, but then there's a point where they have to do the work on themselves, or you can help connect them to a resource. The main reason I'm trying to help you create boundaries, it's not only just for happiness and health, but because you have a lot of things that you're dealing with as well, opportunities. And I want you to maximize those since we have an upright wheel of fortune in hopes, fears, and opportunities. This can represent for many of you advancement at work, a new job or opportunity that may be opening up to you. This is also a chance for you to decide that you want to go in a new direction. It's almost like a compass within a compass within a compass. So there's a lot opening up to you, and there's some decisions to make too. What matters most? Where can you make the biggest impact? That keeps coming up as a question as I look at these cards. I do see a financial improvement or rebound for some of you because the historical or karmic card is one that shows lack, and the opportunity card is one that shows abundance. The key to the success this month, again, is possibly juggling more than one thing at once, using your creative abilities when it comes to all things career-oriented, and on top of that, taking more of an active role when it comes to organizing or speaking up in these sorts of engagements. Definitely, this is a time for you to embrace the leadership qualities that are so clearly coming through, or at the very least, the partnership qualities here where you can basically work well in a group and still be a leader in that group, even if you're not the main boss. So improvement with finances, great time for personal development, an important opportunity for those of you that haven't been receiving enough to work to get that abundance that you so much deserve. And it's just a new cycle. The Wheel of Fortune is very much like world energy, where things are ending and beginning, things are moving. Ultimately, one of the common themes here is there's a lot going on, there's a lot in motion, and as long as you keep things moving, I feel like you're going to surprise yourself with the money, the resources, and the opportunities that open up to you. We'll look more at that when we go into wealth, but we have one more card before the expanded forecast, and that's Two of Swords. If you're going to get the Two of Swords, get it upside down, because that is basically the blindfolds coming off. It's revelation. It's seeing through the veneer. It's pulling back the curtain and seeing what's there. Sometimes there's disbelief even when the revelation happens. The main thing here, if we zoom way in on the Two of Swords, pull it up right for a second, is the person isn't doing anything to remove the blindfold. So sometimes they think if I ignore it, it'll just go away. it won't go away. So whatever it is that has been brought to your attention, particularly if it's a person or if it's something going on in the environment, deal with it now. Proactive energy and sort of like preventative energy is really, really important. So in the case of an automobile, you would go and make sure the oil is changed before the car breaks down, or you make sure that you rotate the tires before the tires wear out. If there's a leaky roof, you fix it when it's small before there's water damage throughout all of the interior. Take something when it's at its very beginning, manage it, and then you can focus your energy and save a lot of time and money in the long run as well. So you'll just be more effective in the future and not stuck dealing with something that you think to yourself, I really should have listened to myself. Listen to your intuition, deal with it in real time, and also get ahead of it. You know that there's certain things that you have to do in any given period of time. That's why we get checkups at the doctor. That's why we take our car for a tune-up. That's why we sometimes replace the batteries in a smoke alarm before they go out, because you know it's going to happen anyway. Don't wait for the inevitable. Let's expand the forecast now to take a look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. We're going to kick everything off with a health message. This is in your mind, body, and spirit. And as we take a look here at your oracle card, we have Poseidon. The message reads flow, but the card is reversed. So in the upright position, this is about you really being able to trust in the intuitive flow, since we have the magician at the center, to allow the creative flow to go through you, and also to do what feels right and natural to you. When this is reversed, you're ignoring all of those inclinations, those it's basically instincts is the right word here. So trust in the instinct. Now, with this particular card in reverse, and when we're looking at health, it can also represent other things. So if something is stuck, it doesn't flow. And so there may be something in your body where you're feeling like it's not moving the way that it needs to. Absolutely, in this moment in time, work with your doctor. I always have that on my disclaimer. But particularly if circulation isn't going in the direction that it needs, or if you're having difficulty keeping things in your body, like with digestion, we're basically seeing a blocked flow here. And that can be in so many things in the body, from blood to food to even just oxygen. So whatever it is where you feel like there might be a block or a lack, that's something that you want to focus on. A completely different interpretation of this card, if you're in a good, healthy sort of place right now, is yoga. There is a particular yoga practice where it's all about the flow of movements. Like with yoga, there's different things that you can put the energy into. Sometimes it's about how strong and how long you can hold a pose. Sometimes it's about breathing over everything else. There is one particular practice where flow is everything. So you move quicker through the poses. It's not so much about the integrity, although that matters. It's not so much about how strong. It's more about getting the energy moving in your body. So I feel like that's really beneficial for those of you that want to go into a yoga flow class. It's also important to do things that allow you to move more. So just like swimming and walking, very low impact exercises help with circulation, help with oxygenation, help with stagnation. So in general, just moving is going to help. All right, there you go. Let's now take a look at this with respect to just general health and well-being. Again, I already disclaimed what I needed to earlier. Everything that I mentioned before we got into the expanded forecast is important here. If there's a little tiny ache or pain or something, you know your body best. If there's just something that isn't the way it normally is, there's no harm done in talking to your doctor about that. Just say, hey, what does this mean? Don't say this may be nothing, because doctors tend not to listen to you then. Just say, this hasn't happened before. Something new popped up. I'd like your insights. Don't negate your feelings, because we already have enough issues with healthcare professionals listening sometimes. So just go in with a question. Just say, I have a question. What is this? Is this normal? And that will be a good way in and out. Remember what I said here. That way people listen to you. The magician in reverse can also represent over or under. Let me talk about that. It could be over medication. It could be Also, like not having enough vitamins or enough nourishment. So this is a good conversation to have with your general practitioner or dietitian, just to check through all of the things that you're taking as well. Usually when you go to a new doctor, they'll ask for, your history when it comes to any recent surgeries and all the medications that you're taking. But sometimes when you've been with a doctor or professional for a while, they're not staying up to date on changes in medication. Make sure that you're reporting that to them just in case something conflicts, right? And sometimes if you've changed your health habits too, you could get a test to see if you still need that. Sometimes we tend to be over-medicated in modern society. This is a tension card. So I need to go back to the original one, which I have here. So if you look at this Four of Pentacles, what happens is we hold on to stress and then the body finds a place to get rid of it. Some of us grind our teeth. Some of us may hold it into our shoulders, or you have like difficulty in breathing when you're stressed out. Wherever your body holds that stress, exercise can help, therapy can help, and then of course reducing the stressor itself, whether that's working too much or whatever. We have to find a way to release this because the tension's building a little bit here. Emotions are running high, so do take care of yourself. Do have some fun. I'm going to keep going back to this Sun card and then even the original Rider-Waite-Smith one. Let the inner child come out, have some fun. It's going to be a good way for stress release and relief, and just better happiness and balance in your life as well. Otherwise, I like what I see. It's a pretty clear spread this month, and there aren't too many things here to worry about. The only other thing here, some of you might have, you could be drinking too much, and I'm talking more about like recreational stuff, alcohol or caffeine. Some of you might be dehydrated too, because we're looking at all of these water cards. So just make sure that that's where it needs to be. Or I should say everything's where it needs to be. Let's go ahead now and move on to the energy of wealth. I'm just going to pull the card up for this. Wow, what a very potent and appropriate oracle card to come through on this. So, calculated risk is okay. That is part of growth, but it needs to be calculated and it needs to be something that you're comfortable with. If I lose this, it's not a big deal because I have this, this, and this. Don't take unnecessary risks, especially as we enter into a year where there's a lot of things in kind of motion. Economically, politically, this is a time where you want to be very smart about keeping your money in a place that makes sense. So calculated risks, good. Unknowns when you need the money possibly faster, not so good. This is also encouraging you to take a risk or a leap of faith on yourself. So this kind of aligns with potentially going back to school or getting some training or doing something like that. Sometimes we have to just say, I want to follow through on this stream. And it's not so much a money thing, it's a time and an energy thing. And it's really a question of, are you willing to invest in yourself and go for that? When I quit my job now almost 10 years, it is 10 years in January, it was a risk. It was a risk I wanted to take. And I wanted to take it because I already had made up my mind that I was done with what I did before. So it was calculated but safe on that level because I knew no matter what I was doing, it wasn't what I had been. So let's try this. I had 3 or 4 things that I was trying at one time, including yoga. I thought maybe I would teach or something, but there's a lot of different things that you can put into play into the future so you can mitigate the risk. And that would be my advice here. Have a contingency plan, have a plan B, C, D. Just make sure that if you're going to make that move happen, you're going to be okay and you have an idea of how to navigate it. Apollo just popped over, so I thought I would bring him up. We're going to take a look now at 3 major categories. We're going to start off with those of you that are already employed or own your own business. Then we'll go into those that are job seeking. Thanks, Apollo. And then we'll take a look at those that are either students or retired. I'm going to put this sweet boy down and we're going to take a look at all of that now. All right, so let's get started. We're going to begin with those of you that are already in a traditional job. Basically, someone else pays your bills. Now, this risk card is going to factor into each of these subcategories as well. So one of the things you want to be mindful of is making sure that you're protecting yourself. There may be jobs where employers don't take the necessary precautions to make sure that you're not at risk, your health isn't at risk, your safety isn't at risk. So that's the interpretation I'm getting for those that are in a current job, is protect yourself, particularly if you're in construction, but it can be anywhere. Like maybe there's something going on in the environment where, you're just not getting what you need. Poor working conditions, poor air quality. I can think of any number of things there. Okay. Other things outside of the risk card that are coming through. This is very auspicious. So Wheel of Fortune is coming through as a potential card. The Three of Wands is showing that there may be more than one opportunity coming forth, or that you're getting rewarded because of your ability to be a great leader, to multitask, and to also come up with great creative concepts. You're doing well, by and large. This is interesting here, which is some of you prefer maybe to be more of a producer than a leader. Like you just enjoy doing what you're doing. And you're like, I don't want a direct report. I don't want to take on more responsibility. And there's nothing wrong with that. There still may be opportunities to step up if that's your camp. Some of you may also just have more attention or more scrutiny in your direction. Maybe you've already done the step up and it's just a matter of managing that. I'm not worried about if you can make it all work. It's more just a matter of embracing your worth, continuing to do a good job, and stating what it is that you want. Be clear in your expectations. And if you haven't gotten what you've deserved previously, now, especially now, is the time to get it into motion. It may take 3 months. It may be something that make happen quickly here, because the Wheel of Fortune is in hope spheres and opportunities, but now is the time. And you'll be surprised. Sometimes it just takes a conversation where you say, I've done this, I've looked around, or I even just heard that, everyone else is making this. Why am I not in this? Like, I'm producing even more. And when you have that conversation, sometimes they're like, oh, it slipped under the radar, or we weren't aware that you wanted more. But you can get more. I don't even feel like you need to do an ultimatum or anything. Just say, I value this job. I'm working hard. This is the standard. What can we do to make it right? That's something along those lines. Are there any challenges going on right now? Yeah, there could be someone around you that's acting emotionally. That could be also causing that person to take risks that they shouldn't. Or they're just falling asleep at the job. I saw this in the channel messages. So it could be in the environment, because I'm not really seeing it right here for you. So for some of you, there could be someone like that, and they put everyone else at risk. So if someone around you is fatigued and, not doing what they need to do, have a conversation with them. If you're tired, also think about, either way with this, we don't want to put others at risk. So that's one of the reasons rest and support is necessary. If there's a change contractually that you need to make, you can do this. And overall, it's a pretty good spread. I actually feel like this can be a great month ahead for you. Okay, if you own your own company, we love that the Wheel of Fortune is coming through. It's in possibilities, which probably means it's the next quarter. Now, there's a couple of things that you have to look at. For you, it's all the stuff that I talked about with the unknowns of 2025. As a business, you have to take the calculated risks. But if there are things that just are too far of a stretch or reach, don't do it. Let's just look at the general spread for all of you that own your own business. The Lovers in reverse is interesting. This is a demanding customer base. They're loyal, but demanding. They expect a lot. And sometimes if you make a mistake, they could complain. So I think one thing here we want to do is work on customer service, answering questions on social media, rewarding the loyal customers as well. Customer loyalty programs would be really great right now. And then that is going to help keep them there, and let them know, if there's a mistake or something, just be clear in communication. I think that people are forgiving if you are very constant, clear, and also transparent when it comes to any of those things. That's just a good PR rule as well. I think you're doing a decent job juggling. I don't necessarily know if immediately you need to add one more thing, because the Magician in the reverse state can be lacking focus. So we want to make sure that you're doing less but doing it better. And if there is something that you're kind of cooking up for, next year, that you are allowing yourself ample time for research and development, you don't rush it. So work a little slower, do a little less, but do it all with a high quality. And that is going to help preserve the goodwill that you have here. there's an element of surprise here that could be beneficial for you. So if there is something that you want to launch, make that part of the sort of like buzz around it. And make sure that if you have people that are really excited about this that are working for you, that they sign the NDA. Using the element of surprise could be something really, really good. Okay. Moving on to those that are job seeking. It's a good time to be looking for work. Things could happen quickly, but I would say the first 2 or 3 weeks, obviously, of December are going to be best because the holidays hit after that. But you could have multiple opportunities coming through. I also feel like anything that you are able to land as far as an interview, the Wheel of Fortune is very, very good. But you need to practice a little bit, particularly if you were at a job that paid you too little, or if you've never had a lot of practice with asking or negotiating for more money. Get used to doing that without having your voice falter or having like a facial tell. When you go to that interview and someone says, do you have a sort of like a salary expectation? Say, yeah, actually I do. It should be within this realm and this realm. I've done research, and then just leave it at that and see what they say. You can also, sometimes you can make sure that they don't always have to ask your history in certain city, states, countries, and provinces. There may be laws for that. And you may also just throw it back to them and say, I'm really curious what you have in store for me without me kind of like putting anything out there. What do you think I'm worth? But invariably, at most of the jobs that I went to in my career, I had to put an expectation out there. So I just made sure it was researched, and I reached a little further than I thought I could get. Sometimes I could get that. Sometimes we pulled back, but it was never too much that I asked for. It was always, I would do my research and ask for the higher end, and then get ready then to negotiate a little bit. But know what your basement is too. Because I went to an interview once where they asked me, what is it going to take? I said, anything less than this, I'm just going to walk out. And they knew it because we'd been talking for like an hour and going back and forth. And so know your pie in the sky, and then know your basement, and do your research beforehand, and they'll just be able to tell. I used to be a hiring manager, so I could tell if somebody knew their numbers and if they knew their worth. And we made it easy and usually we incentivized it if it was someone that we really wanted. So see yourself as worthy of this Wheel of Fortune. Do your homework. You can get it. I feel like some of you might surprise yourself with the fact that you can get a little bit more. It's about not going too far in the negotiation, like that sweet spot, okay? All right, let's see what else we're looking at here. How can you find it? Probably through a close friend or colleague, because the Lovers is a connection that's already there. Your creativity is what's bubbling up here in this spread. Either your creativity or your ability to take information and see it in a way that no one else would. So innovation and creativity, really, really high. And of course, this is going to be your intuition. But all of these things put you head and shoulders above the rest, and they're coming up as the most visible cards here. You might need to look in a different direction. This card is about going to, it doesn't have to be too far away. It could just be adjacent cities that you might be living next to, and it could also be adjacent industries. So if you've always worked in one field, but the same general sort of like training could apply here, look in adjacent fields and see if there might not be something there, because this is showing that you're missing something. And so maybe kind of doing a little bit more exploration could be great. Okay, for those that are students, overall, I like what I see, and there's not even that many challenging cards right now. You can finish what you've started. I feel like some of you just may not know what the long-term goal is. And this is something that I probably didn't have a very, very clear idea of until I got closer to graduation. I did both undergrad and grad. But what can help with Two of Swords energy, whether upright or reversed, is internships and traveling and jobs. So summer jobs and internships are really, really important. Talking to people in the industry, really, really important. And giving yourself enough of a base when it comes to education that you could, again, have flexibility to go into a few fields. So over the course of my trajectory, I worked in traditional design jobs, I worked at entertainment companies, I worked in design and production, and I did that because I had skills that were complementary. And And I usually surprise people with the fact that I could do more than one thing. Sometimes that was a challenge because they didn't know how to classify me. But more often than not, it was an asset. And in the long run, it's allowed me to be self-employed. So let me give you some examples. If you're creative, make sure you have some business classes. If you're a business major, make sure you have the ability to present and communicate. Everybody can benefit from a class in psychology. So some business, some psychology, and the ability to communicate, a good English or business English class or language of whatever country you're in, making sure that you have presentation skills, that's a better word. All of these things will help you in every facet of career. So round out your degree a little bit, and that will be beneficial. For those of you that have like a Bachelor of Science instead of just a BFA, it helps because you're forced to take all of those other classes. But if you do have like an MFA or a BFA, it might be good to take a couple of electives in the science area as well, business and science and math. Okay. For those that are retired, I feel good right now because of this. It feels like maybe you've gotten a better handle on your money. And for some of you, you're just looking at filling up your time. Good for you. Do stuff that brings out the inner child, right? And in doing this, you're going to meet some new people, possibly new friends or love interests if that's something that you're interested in. But at the very least, it looks like you could be having some fun and planning a trip. And then also, of course, spiritual development with the Magician, spiritual and creative development. These are very artistic cards, the King and Queen of Cups. So you don't need to have any practical application. It could be a class in pottery or painting or poetry or language, because we talked about the Rosetta Stone. Anything that is expressive, artistic. This is also going to help you with the stress relief that some of you might be needing. That's where you should be putting your energy. Okay, let's move on to love and relationships. All right, so we have earth energy coming forth, and it says stability. I see it already for you, that many of you are bringing in more stable energy because we got the Wheel of Fortune. This could help open you up to have more time for partnership, for family, for fun. The other thing here is this could be an earth sign coming into your trajectory. Like attracts like, so that's not surprising. Like a Queen of Pentacles could be coming forth to kind of like partner up with you. And really just feeling like when it comes to relationships that finally, or still, there's going to be this sense of stability, that you don't have to focus as much on that because you know you're good. All right? Let's break this down in just to 3 categories now. Those who are in love, looking for love, or happily single. For those presently in a relationship, I'm very happy to see these 2 cards side by side. The Lovers shows that in the near future, you have the capacity to deepen the relationship. The Magician card shows chemistry. Now, these 2, the fact that actually all 3 of these are reversed, this is where the challenge is. This is feeling unrecognized or unappreciated. This is sometimes the spark diminishing a bit because of that. So we have to rekindle that spark. The Lovers in reverse could be not always being good about saying thank you or I love you, or having someone around you who is lacking that initiative. And what I see here is different ways of expressing, but not a lot of communicating. So we have Wands, who shows up and basically demonstrates how they feel. They don't always talk about it. We have Cups that's a little bit more receptive, but also may not feel like they want to talk about it as much. So the answer is here with the Page of Swords reversed. Just a simple thank you, that made my day, or I love you, or I miss you, or I appreciate it when you do this. Or it frustrates me when this doesn't happen. Clear, short communication, but we need to make sure that both parties are feeling like they're being seen and heard. And that's the big area of focus. I think that one of the reasons that there may be that feeling of being a little like out on the sidelines is because of the Wheel of Fortune. You could be making advancements in your life. Personal development, school, and work are starting to fire up pretty quickly, and one or both of you might be juggling a lot. I like what I see here, but I also am noticing something interesting. So we have the divine partnership here with King and Queen of Cups. We have another king in the mix here. So some of you may be in a blended family where there might be another, a couple ways this could work. There could be an in-law that's living with you, an aunt, uncle, or grandparent, or parent. There could also be an ex in the picture. So there's the core unit here plus this extra person that is going to be a part of it. When you are divorced but have a child, the ex is always going to be a part of your life because you're co-parenting, optimally, usually, unless one person has sole custody and the other person's not interested. Usually there's a sharing of that time, and therefore, if your partner's with someone that has that child, you're going to have to make room for that other parent to kind of be a part of the family. When it comes to in-laws or extended family, it's just about boundaries, communication. Even with that ex, it's just a way to kind of like, how do they fit into the picture? So that's one little nuance that I'm seeing here that could create some challenges. But the cards are very good. So I have to really kind of like splice and dice to see things. Now, it's interesting here that we have a birthing card. So for some of you, it's interesting because we have a very sage energy here. This could be a baby at a later point in your life. And I mean, historically, at this point, we are kind of expanding families at a later point. People in their 40s and 50s and above are sometimes adopting or through surrogacy or IVF having children. So maybe that's a discussion some of you are looking to have. You can make it happen if you want to. We have that as the catalytic card here. So some of you may have already gotten pregnant, or you're just looking at possibly doing that. Now, there could just be a decision also to bring an animal or something else into the family, but extension. Or maybe it's just this. We're seeing the family grow, by bringing in like a mother or grandparent or aunt or uncle that needs some help. Okay. Overall, I like what I see here. It's just about better communication since the communication cards are reversed. For those of you looking for love, can you find it? Yes, you can. Multiple options coming forth. A lot of water and then a little fire here. I mentioned that I really think this is more you, Capricorn, but you could also be pulling in an earth. Because most of these elements are here and we have a magician that has all the elements at the table, the message from Spirit is, what are you looking for? And also, do you have the time and energy right now for this? Three of Wands shows that a person can come in, but they're going to have to take like a piece of that pie, 30% of your time, because there's a lot of other things going on. So if you really are intent on finding someone, create more space and find a way to delegate or push back on things so that you can dedicate the time that you want to that relationship. But I like that we have the Lovers card, and I like that we have these divine partnership cards here. I really do feel like this person is kind and empathetic because that's what cups normally represents. Probably a water sign because that's what's in the environment. That's the closest energy that's presenting itself. We do see this fire sign from the past, the recent past, but when we look at the karma of it, it was someone who couldn't give you what you wanted. Remember that Four of Pentacles is like the devil you know. So if they can't show up in the way that you wanted, better to focus on this, which is what's showing up immediately. There is a chance for a deeper relationship, but this person wants, I think, more than you can give. It's almost like the tables have been turned. And the reason being is because you're going to have a lot on your plate. So make sure that you're clear with them that there may be, certain things that you have to finish in this month and that they are important, but you're going to have to make that space if it's something that you're interested in this moment in time. For those that are single and happy, it's a great time to be single and happy. Amazing opportunities coming forth. Personal development, work, and just general opportunities across the board. I do think you'll have a chance to meet a lot of new people. We were just talking about that from a lot of different walks of life. So get out there. That was one of the things. By the way, whether you're looking for love or just looking for connections, remember what the guide said, which was try different things. Music came through. So any musical venue or holiday music sort of thing, that's something that you could do. But for single and happy, it's a great place to mix and mingle, so you can meet some new people that way too. I think that the big thing for single and happy, it's very much like what we were looking at with students. What's the next thing? What comes next in this chapter? Go into something that you love and put the energy of creation there. Spiritual development, of course, coming through one more time. Okay. Let's go ahead now and focus on the Destiny card. All right, amen to this card. It is really inspiring. If we take a look at it in the upright position, it says faith, moving mountains, trust in your ability to create miracles. The impossible is becoming possible. I'm just pulling it a little closer so you can see it. And the interesting thing with this being reversed is a lack of faith. And I mentioned earlier with magician energy reversed that's besides focus, that's the other thing here is trust in yourself, have faith in yourself. The magician literally is about working your magic and bringing something into fruition. So focus and believe in yourself, and some great things can come through. Let's take a look now at sun, rising, and moon sign messages and see what's in store here. Sun, rising, and moon. In the sun sign, we have the 10 of Wands coming through. One thing that I really appreciate in this illustration is the way that this person is balancing the load. Compare this to the traditional illustration where the person feels the burden and feels that sense of oppression or pressure. And what we're seeing here is a way to manage it. Stay on top of it. Don't let it kind of get to you. And if necessary, delegate. Remember what we were talking about here. You may be asked to juggle a few things. You don't have to do it all on your own. The Wands suit is one in which you can kind of like scale up and down as necessary. And there are several lower cards that are just as good as this, like 6 of Wands or 4 of Wands, where you have success and partnership. So feel free to share the load, and you're very close to finishing something. Travel may be something that you are looking to as well, because this is a card associated with that. No matter how you slice it, the 10 of Wands is very good. Don't give up, and remember, if you need help, ask. Let's move on now to rising. In rising and ascendant, we have the 7 of Pentacles. It is reversed, but this is showing the growth that we're going from the 4 of Pentacles. It makes sense now, especially since we have the Wheel of Fortune coming through. So the main message with a 7 of Pentacles card reversed is don't rush. Don't overextend yourself. And so if you're starting to make positive strides, sometimes even people will reach out and ask for a loan or ask for more help or put more on your plate. And we don't want to get to the point where this then starts to feel overwhelming. And so one of the things you can do is say no when necessary, to delegate, as we saw in this card, and, toss that over here and say, I need your help on this. Basically lean in also to the boss energy that was a part of the King of Wands. Also, if we just take the graphic off and look at this, it's about boundaries, all of those concentric circles. She's saying, I can do this, you can do this. And when we were looking at relatives and other people popping into our lives, possibly creating some challenges, making sure that everyone kind of stays in their swim lane is key. This does show recovery from, for some of you, either debt or not having enough. But in this period of time, especially when we look at the wealth card, it is about mitigating risk and making sure that you're being able to keep up with all of your obligations and any of the sort of bills or debt that you've already accrued. So paying things down, saying no, having proper boundaries. All right, moving on to moon sign, we got the Devil card. The Devil card and the Lovers card are opposite ends of the spectrum. And even in this unusual illustration, we can kind of see that. Here we have two people that are embracing. There are no tethers to them. There's nothing forcing the connection. And in the Devil card, we have people tied together, caught in a web, sometimes forced to sort of be in the same place at the same time. So what we want to do is focus on unconditional love and cutting through any sort of energies or contracts or connections that are not allowing you to be free, basically. So this is a month of liberation. A Devil reversed is okay because you can see it. You can see what needs to be fixed, and you can also see something that's not optimal before you sign on the dotted line. Because Mercury retrograde is in effect for half of the month, be very discerning on contracts and say no to something that doesn't feel right. Call out something that is, absolutely wrong, and protect yourself. The way to also fend off the devil is through honesty, integrity, and clarity. The devil doesn't like any of that. So lead by example, okay? Now let's take a look at the last card. This is something where you can ask whatever you still need some, advice on, and we'll see what your guides have to say. All right, go ahead and state that question for the universe. Let's give the cards a shuffle. Very interesting energy coming forth on this. We got the Tower reversed. I have been seeing the Tower reversed a lot in the last 2 or 3 spreads for the last 2 or 3 signs. So this is something that no longer serves you. Tower energy comes through when you've waited longer than you need to address something. So we talked about the importance of not ignoring, right? Because we had the Two of Swords reversed. This is why. On the bright side, a Tower in reverse can be you deciding to dismantle or step away from something. I no longer want this, so I'm going to, sort of like embrace a new journey or path. So examples of this could be quitting a job, asking for a divorce, or in a house, knocking down a wall so you can expand. This could also represent a change that's coming through for you unexpectedly, and it could be good. So let's say out of the blue, you get an opportunity, but it involves a lot of change, maybe moving to a different part of the world. Maybe you have to talk to your partner about, do you want to be with me on this move? So big changes. What we see this month is the change is typically for the better, but navigating a tower requires what we actually saw in relationships, grounding. Ground yourself and really feel out, what do I want out of this? Look at the risk portion of it and think, is it worth it? Go with what feels right. Don't force that flow of energy, and believe in yourself, my friend. Ultimately, if you ask me yes or no, unless you asked, should I make the change? Yes, you should make the change. Yes, you should get ahead of this. If you just said, is this good for me? There is a lot of things in the mix right now that would tell me not now. The Tower is not a sustainable, dependable, or clear outcome. And so typically a lot more homework needs to be done. If you just applied for a job or asked someone out, for instance, the job may actually not end up being approved, like the funding may go away. If you ask someone out on a job or on a date rather, they may not be ready for that in their life right now. Typically, it doesn't have the foundation necessary to go to the next level. Be patient, don't force. But if you're looking to make a change to get ahead of something, yes. You are on the right track, and it's the right time to get ahead of a necessary move or change in your life. Okay, folks, that's everything. I hope you enjoyed this reading. It's always a pleasure and honor to be able to interpret the messages and bring them forth for you. Feel free to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Let me know what you're going through and what resonated the most. Feel free to also follow me on social media. On all major platforms, it's Nicholas Ashbaugh. First and last name put together, no extra characters or spaces. I'm also on Blue Sky, and my handle is nicholasashbaugh.com. That's also my website. You can get all the information, news, and clarity that you need about me there as well. By the way, if you'd like to show love and support, you can do it right here on YouTube through a super sticker, super chat, membership, and just watching the video, even just watching the ads. All of these things help out and allow me to do more videos. Just a quick reminder, I do not offer private readings and I don't use direct messages. Please block and report anybody that does. Let me know about that as well. That's everything. Thank you so much for being the best part of what I do here on YouTube. I wouldn't be here without your love and support. Take a look at all the weekly, monthly, and daily videos on my main channel page. And check out my weekly live streams every Sunday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific time. And until I see you again, I'm wishing you much love and light and a happy holiday season. Take care.